Hi, I'm Pink Machine, and once again, I'm back with another train tutorial. Um, this time I'm covering New York Central Mohawk number 3001, currently on display at the Elkhart Railroad Museum of Elkhart, Indiana. Um, well, specifically the New York Central Museum, like the main one, the big one. Uh, yeah, one of the last surviving members of the New York Central Fleet. Um, Pretty big deal, honestly, because the only other like large-scale steam locomotive they've got left is I think 2933, um, which is also a Mohawk, but that is specifically an L2D, whereas this here we've got behind me is an L3A. Um, yeah, this is one of the ones specifically outfitted to the passenger uh, type of variety, due to the fact that, well, after the L2s were constructed, they did some experiments, and well, around the 1940s, they constructed like a good number, I think like around 65 L3As, or L3s just in general. Um, and yeah, once those were constructed, they figured out, well, hey, these can do dual service because they can run 60 to 80 miles an hour, right? Um, so yeah, because that was the point of the Mohawks initially, was to be dual service, although the L1s and L2s were very kind of unstable in nature, so they were limited to, I think, 60 miles an hour for freight, or even lower than that, maybe, something like that. But the L3s were the first that were properly dual service, and then afterwards, of course, after they built the L3s and perfected those, they built the L4s, which were a higher boiler pressure, larger drive wheels, generally meant to go a little bit faster, right? Um, so both very much express locomotives. Um, so yeah, this is my rendition of the L3A. Um, really not much of note. This is a pretty typical locomotive for me, honestly. Um, yeah, and also this is the new set. Got my new shed, got the whole yard out here. Yeah, and of course it is, as of today, spooky season, Halloween season, October 1st. So we've got the pumpkins and the cobwebs and such, and this is going to be beautiful. So let's go ahead and work our way back into the shed, and I will start on the thing. So first off, we're going to grab our station block. And we're going to put that, well, I made this thing about 40 blocks long, and this thing's not, or the locomotive itself isn't that long. So we're going to go and place this right in the floor right there. We're going to grab our standard bogie, and then we're going to do specifically the large extended set of 8 drive wheels, the 080. And we're going to place this one block away. That is one tip as well, is once you're placing the large wheels, um, they are going, or the XL bogies are going to be like always exactly one block longer on each side. So the large ones go out to here, the XL ones go out to about here. So let's hope I got this right. I think I did, but we'll see. Controller, here we are. Place it against there. And then we're going to place a secondary station right here. So that way we can simply just assemble these wheels. There we go. There we go. I forgot to set them to XL. Yep, that is perfect. Alright, and then next up we just need our trailing truck right here. There we go. Yeah, I believe that's the right spacing. Yeah. There's exactly one block in between. Yep, there we go. That is correct. Okay. Remember, our cab is going to be right here, so we're going to go ahead and place our tender bogies as well. There we go. Actually, no, sorry. Our cab is right here, I believe. So then it's going to be 1. This here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, boop. Oh, one more block back, and there we go. 2, 3. Perfect. Okay. That is our Mohawk wheel arrangement. So we're going to go ahead and start on the base, the frame. Steel. Alright, we're going to place a gray steel tank on the front, gray steel tank on either side of each bogie. Wrench that to the side. Oop. Make sure we place that there to cover up the controls. Alright. 1, 2, 3 with the corrugated steel. 1, 2, 3, 4 with the corrugated steel. Gray tank, gray tank. And then we're going to place a block of gray steel on the back here, because that's going to be our cab. Alright, and then we're going to place a shaft with a bracket in between the tender and the locomotive. Okay, girder for our tender frame, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2 on the back here. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to go and get into our cylinders, of which all we're going to need are some black steel tanks and some blocks. We're also going to need our copycat stacked half layers. So we're going to go ahead and place these to the side. Do 1, 2, 3. Hold on. Okay, I do have. Alright, you can't place those on top of each other. 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Copycat slabs. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Then I believe on top of the cylinders we've got A and B, and we've also got, I think this for reference, A, B, C. We can even just go do that. No, you know what? I prefer how this looks. It's more complete. Repeat the same thing on the other side. So basically, these are just black steel tanks placed vertically in the first and second half layers, and then a block of black steel placed in the center of those. Up here, we're going to grab some metal diagonal supports, place those in the top slab, because we did place half slabs right here above the full black steel tanks, of which the bottom one is a black steel block, and the top one is a diagonal metal support. Alright. Now we're going to go start on the valve gear, of which we do need andesite scaffolding. So we're going to go ahead and grab that all the way down here. Do need an alloy block, and we also are going to need some sheet metal. Let's need some copycats. So we're going to need these slices, these bite panels, and these half panels. So we're going to go scaffolding, slice, 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 slice. And then we're going to go ahead and place a filler block right here. Place our half panel. And then we're going to go down here and place another half panel. And then alongside that, we're going to place a filler block and our bite panel. Okay. We're going to go and fill this in as well, may as well. So we're going to do sideways sheet metals. We're going to do vertical sheet metals. And our, let's see, another vertical sheet metal. And we're going to go and repeat that to the other side. So scaffolding, slice, 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 slice. I'm going to break one block, go down, and do our, come on. There we go. Our half panel right there, a bite panel, and then that's that. And then we're going to go do our sideways sheet metals and our vertical sheet metals. And then as well, I did forget that we do need to do the half panel right here, of which that's going to be a vertical sheet metal in there. Okay. I'm going to keep this bite panel, but we're also going to grab a shaft and a bracket. There we go. I'm going to place that to the side here. Place our bracket facing towards this, and we do actually need to grab an andesite alloy block. And there we are. I'm going to place that to the bottom right quadrant. And then here we're going to do the same thing, except it is the bottom left. Alright. Cool. That is our valve gear. And then now we're going to go ahead and start back here on the trailing truck, of which we do need a basin. Some of my gray pipes. There we go. Brackets, a headstock, and our diagonal metal support. So we're going to place our basin, place our headstock, and we're going to throw our metal support and rotate it all the way around. I'm going to place our fluid pipe, 2 more fluid pipes, and we're going to grab a gray tank as well, specifically from Crate Colored. You can also just use a basin or a cauldron in that space as well if you'd like to. Okay, then bracket your pipes. And again, do not let me catch you unbracketing your pipes. Okay. The headstock, we're going to place another headstock on this side. And rotate that back around. Okay, there we are. Now we're going to go ahead and grab our slices to create our secondary pipe. Gray loco metal. There we are. Okay. And let me examine how I did this here. Yeah, at least it seems about right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So all we're doing is creating a small little pipe to represent the other pipes that are typically on the side of the locomotive. So we've got our slices coming up to here. We have our other slice coming into here with our little corner. And then as well, we've got our little bulb down here. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna place another slice down here and place our corner slice, aka our bulb. Alright, there we go. Bite panels, brackets. Alright, and these are going to represent some more little tiny devices on the side of the locomotive. I don't know exactly what the devices of these are, but they look nice. It's a little industrial component. Okay. That is our base. Now all I'm going to add down here to the tender is our slabs. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1. Come on. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 actually is what that is. And then as well, we're going to grab our black loco metal. There we go. Oh, actually we need our black slashed. There we go. Oop. Bingo. And just fill these all in. There we go. Okay. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and do the front pilot, of which it's mostly just bites. Okay, that's easy. Okay. Bite. I'm going to grab our slices. Headstocks. Okay. I'm going to place some bites over here. I'm going to grab a bite panel, actually, and place that on either side. And we're going to go down here and place more bites. And then we're going to break this front rail, and we're directly under the coupler here, that rail. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that slice. Okay. Now, as for materials, we will need the smoke boxes. There we are. We need our gray loco metal, of which we're actually just going to go to the loco metal tab over here. There we are. Boom. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place our gray loco metal in there. Place it in there as well. And then we need to grab our industrial iron boilers, of which we're going to grab specifically the design decor ones, because I tend to prefer those for this application, because they do have the dark borders on top and bottom, which I feel complement this nicely. I'm also going to grab our industrial iron supports. There we go. I'm going to place the vertical ones right here. Place more verticality right there. And then from there we need our deep slate corner trims. Alright. And then we're gonna have our metal. I'm going to grab our industrial iron catwalk stairs from up here. Actually, no, I do have to disassemble this if I do want to grab things from it. Oopsies. Industrial iron. Okay. We need our railings as well. And this is going to represent the front steps on the locomotive. Okay, so that's the pilot. That's pretty good. Now we're going to go back here and start on the cab. Black slash locometal. We do need our locometal smoke boxes as well. And we also need our riveted pillars. There we are. And we actually do need two more things here, sorry. Our steel tanks, our windows, which I don't think there's a, nope, that's not right. There we go, black two pane. Okay, and then as for copycats, grab vertical half layers. Okay, here we are. 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually no, we need the horizontal ones for right now. Those would be stacked half layers, I believe. Yep, there we go. Okay. And then the vertical half layers as well right here. Okay. Remove those filler blocks. And then for the Mohawk, we're going to need to remove two of these because we're representing an open window here. We're going to put our sideways windows right here. You can use dark oak for these. You can use chipped for these. Doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and throw in our tanks. These are sideways. All right, looking good. Now what we need to do is grab our half layers and our slabs. We also are going to need a bite, a step, and yeah, should be about it. Now we're going to grab some filler blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, slab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Bites, steps. Gonna break these blocks. And we also are going to put our slash locometal in the corners here. And we're going to grab some cut blank blackstone for the roof to give it some variation. And then as well, we're going to grab our trapdoors. There we go. And again, you can use a dark oak trapdoor, you can use a copycat trapdoor with whatever you want in there. Yeah. Alright. Now we're going to go and detail our cab with some C8s. A blaze burner. One, two, boop. And then we actually do need to do the back head over here. So 1, 2. Oh, come on. Wow. Actually, it needs, okay, we'll just, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Filler blocks here. We're gonna place another filler block there. And we're just doing basically all vertical half layers for this entire space. Okay. do a copycat layer, and there. Okay, boom. And now we're going to throw in some black slash loco metal for all of this, and then we're going to grab some glass with our vertical leaded glass, and there we go. Okay, boop, boop. There we go. Do our tanks, our clock, and our placard. We also do need a controller. There we are. Okay. 1, 2. Place our whistle. Boop. Clock, placard. Okay, other way around, but whatever. Alright, now we have to do our cab trim as well. Okay. Slice, slice, corner slice, slice, slice. Don't fill this block in over here. Slice, slice, corner slice, slice, slice. There we are. And we're going to do a black slash. There we go. Okay. 1, 2. Hold on. Filler black. Right. 1, 2. There we are. And 1, and again 2. Alright, we're actually going to replace those with something slightly different for some variation, and yeah, okay. Well, that is going to be our full cab, and now we get to work on the firebox. Okay, so we need some copycat slabs with industrial iron plating. Always use industrial iron plating. There is no exception to that rule. And as well, we're going to grab, these are half layers. Okay, cool. I go 1, 2, 3 with our industrial iron plating. Gonna add a block there and do the wraparound. Okay, and now we're going to do our half layers. So these have specifically sideways locomotive smoke boxes in them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to do 1 right here because that's going to be part of the running board. And we're going to do this here as well with flat riveted loco metal, just to replicate that firebox texture. 8, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop. Right. Forgot that would be reversed. So we actually need to do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boop. My counting might be slightly off. Okay. There's the bottom half. Now we have to grab the top half, of which that is going to be some steps, a slab, and then this little. I think those are the steam turret covers. Okay, so we're going to grab steps. Copycat slab. Okay. Grab our smoke boxes and place another few flat riveteds right there. Make sure we're matching our lights to our darks, so we're going to actually flip this to be light to light. So specifically, light side of the texture, light side of the texture, as opposed to dark to light. And do the same thing right there. Right, and we do have to flip this. There we go. Perfect. And then we're going to grab some copycat half layers and some layers. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and place some more cut blank blackstone in there. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to grab a single layer to place right here, because there is going to be a candle on top of a boiler block, in which that is slightly hard to glue to locomotive, unless there is something adjacent to it. And I believe that's it for that. Right, there's a secondary layer we have to add. Right there. Of course, that is going to be a flat riveted. Okay, next we're going to move up to the smoke box. So steel, doot, doot. There we are. And we're going to do 2 layers of these steel boilers and a brushed steel. I believe, does that go back to 4 blocks? It does. Interesting. Okay. Let's run with that. So we're actually doing something more like that. Doing our gray stir boilers here. Okay. And then I'm going to go and grab my custom smoke box door front. Boop. I'm going to place that on the front, and suddenly it looks a lot more like a train. Okay. And then, of course, I do have... Now, typically I would just do the white or the yellow marker lights, similarly to the redstone lamp inspired front high intensity headlamp. But specifically here I'm doing the green ones because 3001 is very commonly depicted with the green ones. Like the actual real life locomotive that is in the museum has the green ones. Then we're going to grab a pipe. Boop, boop. Use brackets to secure those. And we're also going to go ahead and grab a gray steel tank as our smoke box saddle. Okay, we need a smokestack. And we also need some copycat half layers with some brushed gray steel. And we're also going to need some steps with some further gray steel boilers. Bingo. Okay, so we're going to do steps one, oh, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Use our half layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And do our steps. Okay, gray steel boilers. And then our brushed steel up here to create that gunmetal smoke box appearance. To do our metal brackets on top of these steam pipes over here. Okay. Now we need to do our black boilers, which we also are going to need some black steel tanks and our steps with specifically black steel blocks and the vertical black steel tanks. So I believe we're going to go, it is 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 1, rotate that, 1, 1, and then 2 black boilers. There we go. I'm going to place these as well on the sides of our black steel tanks. And as well, I did forget a small detail, of which that is the top of the frame, so those are going to be those copycat slabs. Where is it? Why am I doing that? Copycat, oh, slab, bingo. Okay, we're gonna grab our gray steel tanks, gray steel blocks, okay. 1, oh, that went somewhere. Okay, we're gonna use the placement helpers to simply place these all the way along the side, or along the top rather, not the side. Place our tanks, tank, tank, corrugated, and then our block right there. Next we're going to grab some industrial iron supports and throw that on top of this. Basically anywhere where a solid block meets a solid block, so that's going to be like here and here. Which you do have to make sure that we are keeping the blocks that were previously there actually there. There we go. And okay. We're going to place that one there just for the sake of having a solid block at the back of the boiler so it feels a little bit more secure. And you know what? We're actually not going to do that. What we're instead going to do is specifically this. so we're actually keeping to the solid block rule, and that is far enough back on the boiler to make it make sense. Okay, cool. That is most of our boiler. We still have to add in the appliances, and we actually do have to add the smokestack that I did grab. Okay, we're going to press Alt for a menu and grab the short one. And there we are. Okay, now I did kind of fuck up the placement slightly in that we're not going to be able to make use of the chimneys on this, but that's okay. I'll make sure to adjust for that next time. Okay, now let me see here. What else do we have left to do? Well, namely the smoke deflectors. There's also that front shield, of which we're going to grab my compressor models, a set of controls, and then these blocks. So we're going to place our controls opposite to the saddle. We're going to place my air compressors right here, and we're going to do 1, 2 on these layers, of which are black steel tanks placed sideways. We're also going to grab a copy-out headstock with one of my locomotive vents in there. And there we go. The front shield, and now we're going to go ahead and do the running board. So along the left-hand side, well, okay, right-hand side if we're looking at it from this perspective, from the engineer's perspective. So let's see, so we do need some slices. We do need this reservoir, whatever this may be. And then as well, we are going to need the materials for the power reverse. Okay. 1, 2, grab these slices, grab that. That should be accurate. Okay, cool. Remember, these slices are going to be on the top block. Okay. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oop, come on, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, same thing on the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There we go. Okay. Next, I need to figure out the proper spacing for this. So that is 2 blocks away from the firebox. That goes there. Okay. That makes sense. 1, 2, and we're going to place our reservoir right here. And we're going to place our power reverse right here, of which specifically the reservoir that I'm placing is a set of copycat pipes with black locometal inside, and these are complemented by these brackets placed upwards, so ideally onto the running board. And then for a power reverse, we're going to grab a copycat step and place a vertical tank inside. Then we're going to place a stacked half layer on the side of that. And then we're going to throw in some copycat slices with a vertical andesite sheet metals up to about this block, I believe. I'm going to place a filler block, filler block, and a vertical half panel. Okay. That should be that. There is a secondary part of the valve gear of which I am going to add here as well, of which that is going to be this little step right here with a vertical tank inside. Okay. I'm going to grab some lubricators. Okay. Nice. Alright, now for the other side, all we've got to do is a single reservoir and then the lubricator cycler, of which we're going to need nothing too drastic, it seems like. Yeah, so we need shaft and a bracket. And I'm pretty sure I can figure the rest out myself. Shaft, bracket, and then this pipe. Actually, where does this pipe go? That is one block in front of the firebox. Yep, okay. Ooh, break that. Okay. Going to throw that right there. Grab one of these bite panels, throw that right there. And then from there, we're going to grab our half panel and throw that down just right there. Of which we're actually going to not do that, and instead we're going to place that slightly back so that we can place this part of the valve gear right here. So then we can do this, and then that. Perfect. All right. Now we get to fill in the rest of the valve gear up here. Or sorry, not the valve gear, the running board. With specifically these copycat half layers filled with local metal smoke boxes. Okay, one. Come on. Oh, right. Wait, what? Okay, no, I see. Because there's the step here, so we actually have to place this one block down. Because that makes sense. But because of that... Okay, let me actually check and make sure that's what I did here, because I might have actually just... Okay, I just didn't place anything there. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. So from here, we just go to this one, and then do that, and then there's nothing there, and then we can place this here. We're actually just gonna cut it off right there because I think having the open space there does kind of suck, but the main issue is just that like then we're creating like just multiple gaps in the running board, and that like there would have to be a gap like for every one of these anyways, but there's not really a good way to supplement that because you can't really do copycat bites because this is a flat bit, and you can't really do the half layers because then this becomes like a full slab, which that's not accurate to what I want to do. So we're just going to leave that open, basically. But on the other side, we should have like a little bit more room, maybe? Would be cool. Oh, come on. Is that there? Yeah, it was kind of right. Slightly more room. So we can actually place this on top of here and here. Oh. There. I didn't break anything by doing that. No, I didn't. Okay. Okay, well, those are our running board sides. Now we need to do the top of the boiler, which we're going to need my bell, this copycat half panel, of which that is the feed water heater, and that has a vertical gray steel tank inside. I'm going to place our bell. Is that one block back? Yeah, that's on the very rear block, right there. Sorry, directly rear to the smokestack, not very rear. I'm going to go grab some steps. And we're also going to grab some slush local metal for filler blocks. 2, 5, 6. Oh, 6. And then we're going to replace that boiler there. Okay, we also need some layers. And we need some half layers. Okay, so it's going to be, I believe, 1, 2. No, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. I think that makes more sense. Actually, we don't need these steps right there. We just need layers. We're going to make sure that these are... those look like they're 2. Yeah, that's definitely only 2. Okay, my bad. So your layers for the specifically sand dome and the steam dome are going to be 2 layers tall. Oop. then the top of the sand dome is going to be all black / loco metal, as well as the steam dome. And then we're going to grab some plated black loco metal to throw on the sides over here. Okay. Yeah, coming together. So now all we need are these candles back here, and that seems like it's about it until we have to do the smoke deflectors. Okay. So we're going to also place some blocks here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 for the safety valves, and then this I believe is the whistle. Okay, and then those should glue themselves together with the layers right here. Like specifically, I was worried about. So it's hard to glue something specifically to a boiler unless it is to the side, because with the way the boiler blocks work is you can just place blocks inside of them. So the anchor block is more so down on the bottom here, right? Because you can't really place a block inside that. But the top block is kind of a phantom type deal. So there's actually nothing connecting this to anything else in the train, unless you place something to the side of it. Oh, which, yes, candles can float, but they're still not connected to anything. Anyways, with that established, we're going to go ahead and do these smoke deflectors, which not all L3s had them, so this is very much up to your discretion as to whether you actually want to add these or not. But if you do, then we've got this is a stacked half layer with some black / loco metal inside it. And to place more stacked half layers on top of that with sideways loco metal smoke box and our slashed. Then we're going to break these, I believe, because, yeah, they do go all the way along this side. These are copycat panels with, again, these sideways loco metal smoke boxes. We're going to have some headstocks with our black / loco metal inside of those. That is deflector 1. Now deflector 2 is going to be the same thing, but with only one minor alteration, of which I'll show you in just a second here after I finish duplicating this. Okay. Now that is going to be a single slab, or sorry, a single bit of stacked half layer right there. Because the deflectors are not perfectly symmetrical, there is like a slight add-on right there. I'm not entirely sure. Well, I mean, I know why that's there. It's just specifically on this model, it doesn't really make so much sense because that deflector is meant to kind of go up and over the lubricator, and it's meant to be a little bit, this running board is meant to be a little bit higher set, but because it's hard to do that in Minecraft because you're so limited on space, especially at this scale, that's the best representation you're going to get. Okay, well that is the locomotive, and now we have to go onto the tender, and we're actually going to add my numbers and the dynamo. Cannot forget the dynamo, which that's going to be right there. So dynamo is going to be in replacement for this step, and we're going to add our numbers on either side of the cab over here. And then we're going to grab copycat panels with some industrial iron plating. And we're going to use placement helpers to just simply throw those along the side, along the back rather. And we're going to grab our ladders. Ladder. There we are. We're going to grab the end ladder specifically. As well, we're actually going to add some steps so that, once again, a thing that would be floating otherwise actually does glue to the thing it's supposed to glue to. Right under that. And there we go. Boop. Boop. Alright. So for the tender, we're going to grab some loco metal smoke boxes and place those along either side right here, leaving one block of room, simply for the sake of making sure the back of the tender is detailable, and as well as the front of the tender. Grab our slabs. Right, copycat slab. Okay, then inside those we're going to place same thing as along the side of the cab here, just to give it a slight streamlining effect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. There is that. Now we're going to add our tender back right here, which is going to be some black locometal slash bits. From there, we do have to do our tender frame. Copycat layers, and grab our half layers, or stacked ones specifically. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 2. And our 1, 2, and we're going to do 1. Actually, we're going to place some phantom blocks here. Or rather, some, what's the term I'm going for here again? I forgot already. The blocks that help us place other blocks. Sure. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, no, we do need these to properly place the top of the tender. And over here as well, we're going to place some more stacked half layers. And we're basically just copying both sides. Actually, we do need to place those there. Keep those there. That's there. Place our 2 layers and our stacked half layers along the side here. Fill this in 2 more layers. And then on the sides right here, we are going to do the same thing we did on the K4 class, where we need copycat, hold on, copycat, vertical half layers. And then in here are going to be our representations of, I believe, hand cranks, of which those are the hand brakes, rather, not hand cranks. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and place our slices over the top of this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What's nice about this as well is that I do have my fully brass L3A model behind me on my little train table back here. So I can go to that for a reference if I feel like something isn't quite right. Which I did have to do that earlier during the making, or during the updating of this locomotive for this tutorial. Specifically because the back of the tender felt very plain, which that's going to be this area right here. And I was able to fix that up quite a nice bit and give it a little bit of detail, which I will show that slightly later on once we do actually get to that portion. For now, though, we're going to place some slabs in between here. And basically up here we're copying the cab roof, except for the fact that we do need to remove these in here, I believe. Yes. So I did kind of fuck up on that, but that's okay. There we are. Okay. Now we're going to grab the blocks we need for our tender frame, so specifically the black steel boilers, the black steel tanks, and our corrugated black steel. Okay. Let me refresh myself with what I did over here. We do need the brushed stuff as well, actually. Okay, cool. So we're going to throw in these sideways black steel tanks. Throw our black steel boilers in here on either side to do our tanks, also sideways, and then we're going to do our corrugated in between. And then we're also going to do the same thing on the bottom. Alright, now we're going to throw in some brushed steel right there just to fill in that little gap, and we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Fun fact, I actually have 3 Mohawk models, 2 of which are Broadway Limited L4s. Specifically, I think they ran those in what, like 2005 or something like that? They're kind of old, but they were relatively experimental as well, like those specific models, just because they had like fully plastic drivetrains in them for some reason. That was kind of strange to find out. Um, so there's a specific, very flimsy plastic piece that was supposed to hold together the entire thing. Actually, we're just gonna not copy over these blocks so that I can actually teach this. Boop, boop, boop. Do need that, need a bracket, and need a controller, and there we go. Okay. Before I continue talking about models, let me go ahead and finish this up. So we're going to need, yeah, black slash local metal there. We're going to place bytes, and in these bytes, we're going to place more black slash local metal. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and place 1 on the tops right here, of which that top one's going to be your bracket. And then right here, we're going to do some detailed dark oak planks from chipped. Those are going to represent some crew lockers or cabinets or what have you. We're going to do some vertical local metal smoke boxes. There we go. But yes, I had that specific drivetrain break on both of my models, or both my L4s, and that was not fun. Because then you have to open up the entire thing and either reset it or try to find a different part, and like finding a different part for that specifically is impossible. So what I ended up doing is taking the less broken one from the first model and putting it in the fully shattered one on the second model. Because that's the thing with the plastic drivetrain, is if that just seizes up or stalls, especially while the motor is in like a very high torque, then it just breaks. Like there's really not much you can do about that. Going to place our slices there, and we are giving the tank a bit of a top border as well right here, just to give it some sort of complement. Alright, now we need to go in and do some more black slash local metal. And we're going to do the back of the top of the tender right here. Specifically, we need these layers. A trapdoor, and some black fluid pipe. So specifically, we're going to place those right there. Some black slash local metal. We're going to place our black pipe right here, of which this is part of the detail I was talking about earlier. And then in here, we're going to place 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or actually, that goes down to 1, I believe. That's 1, 1, 1. Place our trapdoor there, single layer there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And we're using essentially our cut blank blackstone to give this more of a more of a weathered look, I'd say, of which you can use different blocks for that. Stretch. But for here, I liked that it gives it more of a flat look as well. So it's like weathered in that it's like a different material, but it's still something that meshes well with Okay, so the best way to describe that look is specifically because we're going to be using blackstone to represent the coal, and using more blackstone, but more refined blackstone to represent the roofs, kind of gives the idea that the ash from that specific coal is flying over the top of the logo. That's my idea, at least. Okay, now to grab, I also did grab a carved blackstone to throw in here as well, or a chiseled blackstone. Interesting. There is no chiseled blackstone. In vanilla, at least. It's called carved. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, anyways, grab some barrels and some fuel tanks, as well as our portable fuel interface. We're going to place a single tank in there and a fuel interface in there. And in here as well, we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 barrels, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks, because we already have an eighth in there. So we're going to place, so that's 8, 9, 10. And we actually do need one of these reserved for our portable storage interface for our coal. There we are. Okay. And now for the coal bed, we can just kind of go nuts with copycat layers, which is the most fun part. But specifically, I'm going to grab a copycat trapdoor and mark off where the interface is, because I have the ability to. And then from here, we're just going to... There we go. That's a coal bed. It's not terrible. It's a little low for this kind of low code, but eh. Okay. Now we get to do the back of the tender, of which specifically I need to improvise a little bit because that is more so the Bonetown system style of tender rear, in that it's very highly practical, but here we're going for specifically accuracy. So let me grab the tender from my L3 model here for reference. Okay, so I'm going to need our light. I need some ladders, which I can just grab from back here. And then as well, we need to throw on some marker lights up there. And then I'm going to throw this in a placard. Or rather, what I can do is throw it to the side right there, because that's also kind of more accurate. Of which it is centered, but the issue there is that to center it would put it behind the ladder, of which is kind of impossible to do. So we're just going to leave it like that. Then we're going to grab our canvas sign, which we did specifically. It was 10 barrels and 8 tanks. So that's going to be about, I think it is, the calculation would be 10 times, okay, first of all, 64 times 27 is, okay, 64 times, oh my god, I can't do my calculator today. 64 times 27 is 1,728. Then we times that by 10, and we get 17,280. 1,280 items. And for the tanks, that's easy, because it's just 8 times 8, which is 64. 64B. Then we're going to grab our glow ink sac to highlight that, and there we go. Okay. Now the tender, of course, as always, does have a slight little balcony on the back here, so we're going to represent that with... How did I do on the K4? Okay. We're going to do some stacked half layers. We're going to grab some panels, and we're going to have some steps. So you, boop, boop. We do need to do a coupler in there somewhere, so we're just going to go ahead and grab this. Okay. I think I'm just gonna do full block here, because that kind of makes the most sense, I would say. So for that, we're gonna grab some metal diagonal supports. Boop, boop. We're also gonna throw our controller back here as well. Which there was definitely a closer place I could grab the controller from, but okay. I already grabbed a controller. We're looking for a knuckle coupler. There we go. Place that facing away. Place the coupler on that. Then we're going to do some copycat half panels. We're going to grab a copycat ladder, which I did not need to do that twice, but that's fine. And then as well, we're going to grab our industrial iron ladders to throw in there. Where is it? There it is. Bingo. And then 1, 2, 3, which we're going to grab some industrial iron supports. Bingo. There we are. And that is our railing. Okay. So that is pretty much our loco complete. Really all we have to do now is add the lettering on the side of the tender and glue the entire thing together. So 1, 2, 3. It's going to go in there. New York Central. New York Central. There we are. All right. That is our L3A Mohawk, number 3001. Okay. So now we just have to glue the thing, which isn't that difficult. Because all we're going to do, well, it is slightly difficult in that it is a locomotive that uses 3 bogies on specifically the locomotive itself. Which I do have to go ahead and rotate this back around. So let's do that. There we go. That should have worked. Ideally. Anyways, so we're going to glue from the front of the trailing truck up to the rear of the front bogie. Then we're going to glue the entire trailing truck together using a placeholder block. There. No, that's still not right. This slice down to this slice. Okay, there we go. Now we get to glue the pilot together. Oh, also, I didn't even mention these blocks. These are deep slate corner trims specifically from Handcrafted. These are placed in copycat bites, and then of course these are our andesite, sorry, not andesite, industrial iron supports. Not sure how many of these blocks I actually talked about, but I've talked about them in other tutorials, I know that, so, eh. Okay. Pilot is glued together. Now we get to glue these sides. Well, actually, no. Let's go ahead and glue our top all as one piece. So to do that, place a block above the smoke deflector such as so. All the way back to the cab down here. And then all that's left is to do the sides. So we're going to grab this part of the pilot up to this slice. Same thing on the other side, grab to this slice, down to the pilot right here. Okay, that is the loco. So now, actually, we do have to glue on the trims and the rear of the cab. There we go, perfect. Then we're going to glue the ladders down to the tender. And then from there, that makes this a very easy process of basically just... Oh, actually, we do have to glue these bulbs in. Make sure we do that. But after that, the tender is very easy to glue. All you have to do is just go from corner to corner. So from this here up to there. Perfect. Okay, that should be right. Now we're going to assemble that. I'm going to place our track right there. And yeah, okay, let's get in the thing. Nice. Oh, this thing is beautiful. We didn't even leave behind any blocks. Now let's see how this thing articulates. It did hit the corner, let's go. Ah, we did leave the pipes disconnected up here a little bit, but that's fine. Let's see how it collides with the buffer stop back here. That's not terrible. We can adjust that slightly. There we are. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that thing. Alright, well, that's going to be about it for this tutorial. I hope that you maybe mildly enjoyed. Be honestly pretty cool if you did. I'd say at least. Um, but yeah, in the future, I'm definitely going to try to be doing more content revolving different class variations for certain locomotives. So like the K4, for example, had variants with like smoke deflectors. There were streamlined variants. Even the Mohawks as well had their own variants as well. Like they had the L1, 2, 3, and 4, of which those are all similar but like very slightly different in appearance, of which I'd like to cover some of those. Even the L3B is like a very different uh, looking locomotive compared to the L3. Um, Also the streamlined Rexall train, which was an L2C, I believe, L2B maybe, which I could do that as well. Uh, that's probably about it, honestly. Again, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.